Matt Maran here for another My Week With video. So this week I've been driving the 2025 Toyota Corolla FX. This is different than the FX Edition that's coming for the 2026 model year. This was a separate thing that also pays homage to the FX Corolla of the 80s. But this one isn't quite as retro as the new hatch version that's coming. So as far as the changes for this one here, so you get a slightly lower suspension and sportier steering. Those are the only two performance things you get. Unfortunately, no power. We still have the 2-liter naturally aspirated 4-cylinder. Does 169 horsepower, 151 pound-feet of torque, and does a low 8 second 0 to 60 time. But even though it's paired up to a CVT transmission, this CVT that has a real first gear. And I always loved that about this generation Corolla. I praised it whenever this first came out. At this point, I don't know, probably almost 6 years ago. And so, it's just good because whenever you're inching up in traffic or just starting off from a stop, you always get a normal automatic transmission response. And then the CVT thing, can kind of be a little more artificial feeling later on in the RPM bands and once you're up to speed a little bit, and that's where that efficiency really kicks in nicely. And because of it, I think this CVT is still one of my favorites in the segment. I know a lot of people don't talk about it or even call out the fact that it has a real first gear anymore, but it does, and I really enjoy it for that. So for this FX edition here, you also do get these unique 18-inch wheels. You get the black accents, black roof, and also that spoiler, which is also black. And, a lot of this stuff is very similar to the Nightshade edition. So, just tiny little tweaks on the inside here. I do like how you have this gray cloth and it has orange stitching, which is a cool touch. And the other unique thing here on the inside is that this new trim introduced this new 10.5-inch touchscreen to the Corolla, and now it pretty much one-ups everybody except for the Kia system and the K4. That's a 12-inch screen, but that's a more horizontally oriented setup versus this having really large icons, and meaning that it's very easy for anyone to use at quick glance, and I do really like it. Some may argue it's borderline too big for a vehicle like this. I still think the 8-inch screen is perfectly sufficient in the other trims. And by the way, if you don't want the FX, you can still get this screen. It comes standard in the XSE and the XLE hybrid, and it's available also in the SE with a premium package that's like $2,000. But no matter how you cut it, the only way to get a Corolla with this screen means paying about $28,000 or so. This one's a little over $29,000 as tested. And I'll get into the pricing in a minute, but as far as how it drives, the one thing that I'm very happy with is the fact that whenever I had an Apex Edition Corolla, which was another sportier thing very similar to this that they did a while back, that had a really uncomfortable ride. And I think you also had like an exhaust that was a little droney. This is much more middle of the road. The ride is still just as smooth as a regular SE Corolla, in my opinion. And this quicker steering, I have to drive a regular Corolla back to back to truly compare. This doesn't feel like it's GR Corolla steering or anything like that, So, it's I guess an appreciated little improvement. Sharper steering is always a good thing in my mind, but don't expect it to move the needle unless you've just put a ton of miles on a regular Corolla. You might be able to discern a difference, but I certainly can't. So yeah, it's a fun little package. I'm happy we have it. I think again, having it in the hatch is even more fun with those white wheels that it gets here for 2026. Other things here for Corolla FX. I have still noticed that the ride in the Corolla is a little noisier. It always kind of has been, and I think now that I've kind of done a rotation of just about every one of its competitors in the past year or two, I'd say this is probably the loudest one in the segment. It's close, but yeah, it's definitely not one of the best as far as that. You hear more tire noise than I think most of the other competitors, more road noise. It's just one of the compromises of this vehicle. But another thing, though, that I think doesn't get enough credit is this interior. I see a lot of people complaining about Corolla interiors, especially when we're talking about GR Corolla and stuff. But, this has again, this orange stitching, especially in the FX. You have padding for the entire dashboard. And, it feels premium to me. Maybe I'm crazy, but this is still one of the nicer interiors in this segment, in my opinion. I mean, a lot of others have also improved over the years. I don't think it's the best. I think Mazda 3 still feels very luxurious and is still the king as far as compact luxury and mainstream vehicles goes. But, I think it's actually really well done here. And, again, just wanted to highlight that because I don't think the interior of the Corolla gets enough credit. But you're going to have to be impressed with the interior and everything else with this vehicle because, again, price tag of this one is a little over $29,000. And that's not even a hybrid, by the way. And as far as fuel economy goes for these, they get 31 mpg in the city, I believe 40 on the highway, and then 34 combined. And fuel economy is, I'd say right in line with most of the others. A little bit better than some of the others, but, it's fine. Obviously, if you care about fuel efficiency, you're going to want to go for the hybrid version, which is a good bit slower, though. So, you just have to make the decision if you want to stick with a Corolla or a Toyota, for that matter, of either going for non-hybrid and having this amount of power, going for a hybrid and having a lot less power, or going up to a Prius and having power and a bunch of efficiency, but paying a little bit more for it. But that's just kind of the choice you have to make there. I didn't put enough miles on this vehicle this week to really do a good fuel economy test, but I've been hovering right around 30 mpg myself here, in my limited driving here this week. But this road especially generates a lot of road noise, and I mean, you can hear, I just went over a smooth patch and now back to the rough. You hear a lot of road noise here in this, and so yeah, that's really the only really sore spot to me, because otherwise, this thing is really solid and feels high quality, feels well built, and because of its insane, mileage reputation of just being able to go the distance for a long, long time, I mean, it feels like that, and it, feels like a vehicle you could put 300,000 plus miles on without this thing breaking a sweat, So I do appreciate that solid feeling, but it just means that, yeah, it's not the most refined or the most plush out there. But as far as that price tag, so that is the sore spot of this beyond just the road noise here. So these, again, over $29,000. And, okay, I'm trying to put myself in the buyer of someone who's going for this or something like it. Do you spend over $29,000 for 169 horsepower, or do you spend $1,000 more for the Honda Civic Sport Hybrid, which is 200 horsepower, a 50 mpg hybrid that's also more refined on the inside, a little bit more spacious, basically better in all the ways for just $1,000 more? Or if you're actually serious about sportiness, you can also still get a Civic Si for about $31,000. So I mean, right within striking distance of this. And so I commend them for trying to do a sporty thing here. And if this were, a really decontented sedan version of a GR Corolla or something, or even just a sedan GR Corolla, and they would have put the FX badge on it instead or something, I'd be all about that. Or even, GR Corolla engine, but not as much handling hardware, or with just front wheel drive instead of all wheel drive. A variety of different combos I can think of where this, could get more appealing for an enthusiast. But as it sits, it's just, it's just too expensive. I mean, thankfully, Corollas, if you don't care about the FX thing, are still a really good value. They come in about $23,500 to start, and Civic is, about $2,000 more expensive, I believe, as is, like even Mazda 3. Like, there's a lot that are, more expensive. There's some that are pretty similar, like, for example, the Hyundai Elantra, Kia K4, which is now the roomiest in the segment. Really impressed with the new K4. Those started right around the same price tag as this. You also even have, I believe, like Jetta, which I believe comes out right around the same kind of money as this as well. And even Sentra is about $1,000 less. That does have worse crash test ratings, so be warned of that. But if you don't mind that, Sentra is also a very premium plush interior, a great value as well, and does come in a little less than this. But I mean, this is still one of the lowest priced in its segment, and the ability to hold the line with the price tag and keep this, under $24,000 with tariffs, with all these price increases we're seeing. Maybe we will see a price increase for Corolla for 2026. We'll have to wait and see. But as of right now, in June of 2025, this is still an excellent value, undercuts a lot of the competitors, and is just, really well done. I just don't think I can recommend this FX version. I like it. If you can get a discount on one and there's a significant price gap that undercuts some of the others, great. But even like, you can get like a mid-grade Mazda 3 with 191 horsepower, a more premium interior. It is a tighter interior, but those, you can get one of those for $26,000, and they even have leatherette seats at $26,000. So there is still some really stiff competition here, and so it's going to come down to, again, what you prefer, what you need, what you want. I still love Corolla in a vacuum. It's great, and I think, again, certain trims and for certain people, it's absolutely the best choice. They still sell a ton of these things, so clearly for a lot of people it is the best choice for them. But it's still a competitive segment, even with a few others dropping out and stuff. It's still a very hot segment, and everyone's bringing their A game. And I'm not sure that the FX is Toyota's A game here, but still a fun package nonetheless for those that are inclined to, appreciate its little, tweaks that they added in here. And I mean, it looks cool with the lowered ride height, and I just always enjoy something sporty, even if it's not the best value or the most exciting. An attempt at sportiness is still something that I can, praise and be happy about having here. And it's been a really nice time just, running around, running errands, doing a little bit of driving around town here in the Corolla. It's still a very nice vehicle, and even all these years later, I mean, it's towards the end of its life cycle here, it still has aged very well, and is still, a very nice vehicle for the money. So anyway, that's all of my thoughts here on the Corolla FX. Let me know your thoughts on it in the comments below. Huge thanks to Toyota for providing me here with this vehicle to review for you guys. Please also make sure you leave a like and subscribe to keep these videos coming. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.